part of Uneducated Sports Talk, representing the Come On In Sports Network, man. Let's get it live. Y'all ready to rock and roll with it?
Yeah, Lawrence Foster here. Come on in sports for and out on our website, TikTok as well. The true winners are everybody here at Come on in sports. Welcome in, everybody.
Hold on, Cowboy. You muted, baby. You muted.
Yeah, no vocals there, Cowboy. All right. While he's working that out, we got our off-season winners and losers. We know this is time of season is not just about free agency. We got trades, we got releases, restructures, all that good stuff. So we're here today to kind of break down the first wave of free agencies already in the books pretty much. You have the second wave that'll be coming up. Still some big names out there, but as of right now, there's some definite winners and losers as we go and look through the NFL. And we have it in a nice kind of easy to break down digestible manner. We'll start off with the AFC East. Carlos, kick us off with your thoughts on this division and how we're doing.
Well, obviously, the biggest one is Justin Fields going to the Jets, in my opinion. The biggest name. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Not the biggest transaction, but the biggest name for sure, Justin Fields. Is he um, going to be that, I don't know, franchise changer? I don't know, but it's a big splash by New York. I mean, they had the Aaron Rodgers debacle. We could say that, but now putting your trust in the Justin Fields, like 2 years, $40 million, I thought was right up today's alley for a guy like Fields who's been a starter for most of his career, outside of last year. So I do think at the big splash by them. But if I want to go with a particular team, I think if you want to talk about wins and losses, man, the Patriots, man.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots went out there, especially on the defensive side, which I thought was key for Mike Vrabel and company. You want to start on defense, get those guys together. Um, I like what they did by getting Milton Williams in there. I like the big boys, and of course, offense. I like the fact that I believe in this draft they're going to go heavy offense, heavy offense because they went with a lot of defense in the off season to get them on point. Now you got to start somewhere, and I think now with the new regime of New England, they gotta go crazy offense in this draft. But as far as like making your presence known, I know that defense wins championships. The Patriots went straight for the defensive side of things, and they look pretty good. And I do like them getting Harold Landry to kind of chef's kiss
Mm-hmm.
towards the end. I mean, the guy's had nine plus sacks 4 years straight, so he's a guy off the edge that can get it anytime he wants to, man. And look, I've always said this, especially about the Patriots defense over the last 20 25 years now. It's been heavy Bill Belichick, but the mindset is still there, and I like teams that you can just plug and play. Yes, the Patriots have had a bad year the last couple of years, but it hasn't because of their defense. It's because of just the inability to get guys on offense. Well, they want to keep that trend going, and then I believe they're gonna go ahead and say, you know what, in this draft, let's go crazy on offense and let's build it up. Year one, year two, year three, we should be great with our success with the defense. So I do like the Patriots model for the offseason. Defense wins championships.
And Cowboy, you want to play off anything Carlos said? Cowboy, still nothing from you, Cowboy, audio wise. So I'll play off what Carlos said. Fields is the big name. He's a kind of grown up there at quarterback for the Jets after what they've had. He's been through the ringer. He's been through kind of the ups and downs already, even as a first round pick. But like you said, to me, my eyes go to the Patriots. They loaded up on defense, very well defensive guy. He knows that you stop a team, you have a chance of winning. He saw what the Eagles did. Milton Williams, Harold Lane, like you said, I like the Robert Spillane signing a lot. I think that he was a guy who was underrated, played with his hair on fire every single play. And it makes sense to load up on offense, right? Receivers are deep like every year now in the draft. So I think you're right. The Patriots saw, okay, we're going to go defense, get our veterans, go young and they'll be able to build with May together. There's going to be a
Yes.
young core on offense and build that together as opposed to getting veterans on that side of the ball. So Cowboys back. We'll see if we got the audio working. But team that I think is a loser so far this offseason will be for Cowboy. I don't know what the Dolphins are doing.
Yeah, yeah, they don't know themselves, man. They don't know themselves. And it's you're right because the Dolphins are one of those mid-tier teams, man. They have the potential of doing something great, but then it's just like, damn, it's kind of gone, per se. Um, when I look at them dropping Raheem Mostert and then them getting Alexander Madison, I was like, that
Yeah.
still feels like you lost some and you try to gain it back, but it's not the same thing. It's almost like
Mhm.
they were like, ha ha, he left, but here comes Madison can take his
Mm.
spot. Not really, because when Mostert's at his best, man, he's a much better explosive back than Madison, who's had some
Yeah.
splashes. But and then I mean, if you want to get Westbrook Ikini from the Titans, I get it, he's a touchdown maker. But as far as someone that's a threat, I mean, he had as many touchdowns as he has catches, and that's like 9 touchdowns or 11, whatever he had. He had like 15
Yeah.
catches all year. I'm exaggerating, but still, um, just you're right though. The Dolphins, I have no clue they're doing, man, and I believe they're on the same stage because they want to be so great, and they had a potential, but I think their window was already came and closed within 2 years. And they better hope they get some splashes in the draft.
Yep. We got Cowboy back. We'll see if we got the audio fixed. Cowboy, you with us? No,
Still
still.
not.
But
We're working on it.
I look at the defense for the Dolphins. Like their offense, as long as Tua stays healthy, they're going to put up points. They do. But like I don't see where the defense. I don't get the direction of the defense. I don't think they have a vision for the defense. I mean, they brought back Tyrell Dotson, a good run defender, but he gets abused in coverage all the time. And you look at what the division is. You have Josh Allen, you have Drake May, who came on at the end of last year. And then whatever the Jets decide to do, but like you got to be able to stop the pass, and there's enough tight ends and running backs in the AFC that Dotson's going to be a big liability. Who's rushing the passer for them still? The Bradley Chubb trade just seems like a disaster. He has not done what they thought he would do. So like there's no direction for Miami, it seems like.
And I know we're talking about the defense, but our offense, as great as it is, it has the wrong identity to win a championship. They want to be fast, 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 and not really, as they say, physical. And when you get into the trenches, that's why when they've gone the last couple of years and played in cold weather, it's an automatic L for those guys. The toughness they don't
Mhm.
show, and that's a lot to with their head coach. I love McDaniels what he brings to that team as far as creativity. But
Mhm.
when it comes down to the trenches, man, and I need to knock you out. They still have yet to break out of that yet, and I believe they got to find some guys that can bring that. So maybe it is hey, let's get a Madison who's more of a downhill runner compared to a Mostert who's more of a zone runner and running the space
Mhm.
kind of guy. Maybe it's a message they're sending out. I'm not quite sure, but it's got to be more for the offense to get be more intimidating than to be look like we're a cool team. We're a cool team that can score 40
Yeah.
plus. The identity's got to go because I've never seen a team ever that's played like that. Like even those teams like the Broncos with Peyton Manning when they're scoring much points. I mean they get to run down your throats. Any
Yeah.
given time they can play the big boys. It just so happened they scored 40 plus per game with Peyton Manning over there and whatnot. But still, we knew the identity that if we want to run the ball, we can. And the Dolphins don't have that kind of identity.
Yeah. And then the Bills just quietly, I think, just keep plugging along. They're still the class of the division. The biggest thing they've done this year is locked up their core pieces before they had to, and before they end up like Cincinnati, where they have to pay more than they would have if they have done it early. The Bills
Right.
with Josh Allen, Khalil Shakir, Greg Rousseau, and Terrell Bernard, they're four of their pillars moving forward, all signed extensions before free agency even started. The only thing that gives me pause is the two of their big D linemen that they signed, uh, Hoyt and Ogunjobi, have the 6-game PED suspensions to start the
Mhm.
year. They're like, oh, that's not ideal to have two of the pieces you planned on being key cogs missing the first third of the year.
Mhm. And we haven't even talked about the biggest one yet, which is obviously Josh Allen getting that 6-year extension, $330 million. Right there. I love that. I know everyone might say, oh, duh, they're supposed to. But no, no, no. At the end of the day, it shows you, hey, man, we are about business. We're about winning. We're trying to win something that gives us 6+ years with Josh Allen being your top three quarterback in the NFL right now, maybe top two, top one in some people's
Mhm.
minds. But that being said, he's the reigning MVP, and he gives you hope for the next 7, 8, 9 years for that franchise. I like the fact that they signed him. Whatever. We knew that was coming. But then of course, like you said earlier, they just plug and play, man. You kept Shakir. I love the fact you kept Shakir. And then you get Josh Palmer, who I thought, man, he missed out on a few 100-yard games. It was just the fact that they either didn't really try to look for him in the past game with Herbert in the new scheme for
Mhm.
their head coach, the new head coach. But I like Josh Palmer going to the Bills, though. He adds a deep threat, and he adds someone that I think is going to play very well with Josh Allen. On top of that, I mean, getting Joey Bosa, although right now I think he's just a name right now, but maybe a new place for Bosa can get him his juices, grinding again, grind his new gears, whatever,
Yeah.
and get him back on track. But honestly, for Bosa, it's been injuries. That's all it has been. When he's healthy, he's a beast, but it just can't stay healthy. So hopefully, a new place, a new edge can get those guys going. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from this Bills team so far. It looks good.
And what I see with Bosa is Von Miller played like 35, 40% of the snaps last year. And that's the role Bosa is going to be, I think, fine in that. If the team that's expect him to play 80, 90% is where he's going to break down. He's
Yeah.
still with Pro Football Focus had him as what, the 22nd ranked he pass rusher in terms of win percentage on his rushes. He just couldn't close them. So the Bills just need somebody to get pressure opposite Greg Rousseau.
Hmm.
So those two working together, hopefully Ed Oliver has a bounce back here. But I think one clear loser in this division. I think the other three were kind of winners so
Yeah,
far.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with you, man. I agree, and it all depends on the direction too. Like, if you're the Dolphins, the reason why I got them as losers right now. If you're the Dolphins and you gotta have that mindset of contending, and I don't think they have that mindset. I think they were comfortable being the level losers of the division right now.
Yep.
I don't like that feeling.
Let's see. Is it fourth time the charm here, Cowboy? It is not. No, I'm sorry.
Hey, Cowboy, have you just tried flat out just turning it off your whole PC and turn it back on? I would just try and do that. I'm saying I was gonna text to you, but I'm just tell you right now. If you want to just turn it off completely, then turn it back on. See how
And
that
then
does.
before we move on to a different division, I think you nailed it. Of McDaniels is a great strategic guy, but he is too loosey goosey. I don't think he has built the right culture in there. They're a reflection of their coach, and they're
Yes,
soft.
yes. There was a saying, I forgot which cold game it was. It was this past year, and they said during halftime the locker room came in, and he was just shivering, turned beet red. He could barely talk because it was so cold. They're like, "This is our head coach for real." Not
Yeah,
doubting the guy because he's a genius when it comes down to his creativity. But as far as a head coach, there's a difference between the OC and a head coach. And right now, he's probably more towards a damn good OC and not necessarily a
yeah,
quote unquote leader of men.
yep. I agree with that. So our next division, AFC North. Initial thoughts on that one, Carlos?
I'm gonna tell you right now. Look, I mean, albeit they don't have a quarterback yet, I like Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh's going full throttle, man. So obviously the DK Metcalf trade is the biggest one. Them getting Metcalf in there, and I said they did resign, not resign, but they signed back Mason Rudolph, but he's definitely not going to be the starter. We know
No.
that. They're still working on maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe Russell Wilson. We don't know. Both those guys are old and they deserve to take their time, I guess. So,
Yeah.
but all in all, they got Kenneth Gainwell to mix in with Warren. I know they lost Najee Harris to the Chargers, which I thought was a big deal. But getting Kenneth Gainwell, albeit he's been sort of the guy behind Saquon and the guy that was part three in the three-headed monster had a couple years
Mhm.
ago, I still think he has a lot of leg with him for this team, and they're gonna probably need him a lot. And he's played a lot of serious football, albeit the back of the Saquon, albeit just a plug and play kind of guy. But he's played a lot of good minutes, a lot of big time minutes for this Eagles team. Now he's going to Philadelphia, right across the border, whatever they say.
Mhm.
And then of course them getting Darius Slay.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
Darius Slay. It was funny because 2 years ago I thought Darius Slay was done. He was done. And I thought he was like, yep, that's it for him. He was getting burnt like a nice crispy toast, man. But then this year, he looked the part again. And look, I do think it's a smart move by the Eagles to let him go, obviously. But it's a smart move by Pittsburgh as well to get him. And
Yeah.
I like the fact they got that, man. So who knows, man? Who knows? They need a quarterback. If they can get someone, I mean, you give Russell Wilson or Rodgers another crack at it, man. DK, and you pair him up with Pickens. I think it'd be a nice, crazy duo, but a nice duo nonetheless. And I do think that Pittsburgh, just because of their activity, because they kind of have to. I like it
Yes.
because I think Pittsburgh. We spoke about Miami earlier, but I think Pittsburgh and Miami are in that same kind of realm of like we are contenders, but
Yeah.
you got a lot of that. Well, I think Pittsburgh made something happen with it, right? Their identity to me is much, much better than the identity for Miami. And I like the fact that Pittsburgh went ahead and said, you know what? We're a physical team, and let's go get a physical wide receiver in Metcalf and
Mhm.
also a big play guy. And like anyone that's runs a 4.3, pushing 250, 260, can jump out of the gym. That's a huge win for anybody, man.
Yep.
So I'm
Paul's
going
back with us. Cowboys back with us. Welcome in, every. Come on in.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah,
Oh, Cowboy
is
work.
working
Let's
now.
go.
Yeah. Golly.
Anthony
I
Davis,
was,
sometimes you got to turn that bad boy off and turn it on, man.
Well, I found out too. I was on my Chrome app, so I swiped back over to Microsoft, and hopefully this will work out better for me.
Hey, let's get it, man.
Yeah,
You're here
yeah.
now. That's all that matters.
My
So,
goodness.
Dolph Cowboys thoughts on the NFC North teams and how they're sitting so far a week into the off season.
Go ahead, Cowboy. I'll go last.
Oh, okay. I just find it interesting that a lot of these teams hitting this free agency with a lot of focus on, not like Carlos was talking about, not the trenches, but more so as edge rushers and cornerbacks, safeties, and a lot of support type team players. No one's like really making a big splash. I mean, people have made adjustments to to what they have as far as offense. But defense is, they say defense wins games, and I see a lot of people that have kind of veered away from that unless they're going to rely on what they already have, in house. But the game is changing, like they said, and it's like they rely more on the speed of the the edge rushers, the speed of the cornerback to make the big play that's going to be needed down the stretch. Defensive linemen, they come and go. You got people that that can make plays. I think that was Miami. One of the teams that I saw that need a huge boost in defense. Oh yeah, and they didn't focus on defense at all going into free agency. I didn't see that at all. I'm just finding this interesting that a lot of people are not going after that defensive player.
Just looking at this, man. First of all, I kind of like what despite them not having a quarterback, I like what the Steelers did, bringing in Metcalf. You got their Darius Slay coming in, Malik Harris, and kind of a different back in Kenneth Gainwell. He's kind of that utility back that they really haven't had. So I look at him. Of course, his years with the Eagles, when out there, he was very productive. I like that. They bring Mason Rudolph back from the Titans to be the backup. Well, right now, until they get a starter, I guess you can say Mason Rudolph is the starting quarterback for the Steelers. I don't know what they say about that, but and then you look at, man, we're still waiting on the big contracts to get done for the Bengals with T and Jamal. And what's up with the NFL sack leader? He's still out there. He's in limbo. And from our reports this week, man, the Bengals and Mickey don't like him. Let me just say that because of what they're doing, Trey Hendrickson. The asking price is asinine what they're asking for. So they're kind of like almost, you can say, holding this guy hostage.
Mhm.
This guy's he's performed well over the contract that you gave him. He's led the NFL in sacks this past season, and hell, he has the most sacks in the NFL the last 2 seasons. That's more than Myles Garrett. That's more than Mason Crosby, Max Crosby, who just got big contracts. That's more than Michael Parsons, who's going to get a big contract. Trey Hendrickson is that dude.
Yeah.
35 sacks. He was the most consistent player on that defense the last 2 years on the defense that we all know struggle mightily. So why you can't find the money to pay him, I understand. You got to get Trey done. You want to get Higgins done. But, man, there got to be some meeting ground. You can't just keep letting great and good players. This guy's in his prime. Yeah. He's in his prime right now. And from his standpoint, you got to look at it. This could possibly be his final big contract in the National Football League. He wanted to get paid last year. If you pay him last year, you're not here this year dealing with the situation you are. But they chose that. Now, we look at the Baltimore Ravens, who also today signed back for their backup quarterback, which I like, Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is signed today to a 2-year, $12.2 million contract to be the backup quarterback to Lamar Jackson. DeAndre Hopkins, I love D-Hop, man, but I think his best days are behind him. If I was to put an over-under on touchdowns for D-Hop this season, over 5 or under 5, I'll say under 5. I had to go with the under.
I agree.
You know, he's in his time, he's a great receiver, but I just think he's lost a step. We know he never was that receiver with that blazing speed. He's a precise route runner. He creates space with his route running and his strength and his physicality. But him going to the Ravens, look, if he has anything left, that's a good match. But the thing is, come playoff time, right now we're beyond the Ravens with regular season. It's all about what they do in the playoffs.
Yeah, for those wondering why, if we're not talking about the Ravens enough, because this is this time of year the Ravens don't need free agency because they already had that team set in place. They're more about the draft. And same thing with the Browns. Name a top dog free agent that's gonna say, Cleveland. yeah, they know that. So their whole money is the draft. Let's go ahead and get Myles Garrett. Let's secure him because Garrett's on his way out until they say, oh, by the way, we'll give you $40 million. Oh, you don't say. Well, we'll stay then. It's sometimes it is all about the money. Let's just keep that real. And I don't blame anyone for getting your paper. Get your paper, dog, no matter what it is. So that's why we don't really talk about those two teams, the Ravens and the Browns. Ravens more for, they got their squadron. They're a great team as it is, and the Browns, no one free agency isn't their strong suit. How about that? Because of where they are.
Right.
Yeah. And normally it isn't the Steelers' strong suit, but they really took strong action this year, which kind of goes against what they generally do. Like that big time trade for DK Metcalf, getting Darius Slay. That's not really when you think of Pittsburgh, like what they traditionally do.
Yeah, because what they do is not working. That's why.
But then that's what I was going to say.
Yes, we all love Pittsburgh, and they've been this team for 30 plus years, and they're one of the winningest franchises ever. And Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. I get all that, but what has it turned into? One Super Bowl appearance. It's 2 maybe, but 1 they won for sure. Only 1 Super Bowl they won. So you gotta go ahead and do something different. And I think Tomlin is finally realizing, man, I just can't keep going with the same old grinded out attitude, and let's just get 9-10 wins every year, and and beat on the road and get smacked up. It's happened like last 6-7 years now.
Well,
these guys haven't won a playoff game in 2016.
Yeah, that's the question, guys. Who's going to be the man under center?
That will be the only reason that that DK Metcalf trade makes sense. You got to get a quarterback that's going to get him the ball. He's going to get open. People think he's probably lost a step, but what we saw last season, he did not lose a step whatsoever. And I don't think Mason Rudolph, being in that quarterback room is going to make that difference for DK. They have to go get somebody to get him the ball.
But
I don't know what Tomlin is thinking over there because he's he's doing more appearances on podcasts these days than he is behind the camera and on the field. So I don't know what his thinking is. And that's why I hate social media getting involved with a game like the NFL football. It kind of changes the game and interferes with it a little bit. But Mason Rudolph, I mean, I just don't know. He's not that guy. The Steelers have to check that quarterback. DK Metcalf is an excellent pickup for them. And the only reason that's going to work is if Mason Rudolph is not the starting quarterback.
Oh, he won't be. And Mike Tomlin, you are welcome on to come on the Sports Network anytime. Damn. Anytime, brother. You can come on in. We can talk about how you change things up, dog, all day. But no, I agree. But I guarantee you, man, Rudolph will not be the starting quarterback. And of course, I think this year they're going to look for their quote unquote franchise quarterback. Although they had one in Kenny Pickett, they said, "Well, let that go." So they'll try again.
Not franchise, man.
He's not. I'm saying, but they had their attempt a couple years ago to have their franchise quarterback. It didn't work.
That man won with Kenny Pickett as his starting quarterback.
And that's what Cleveland has to figure out too, right? Like Watson had to have second reconstructive surgery on his leg after the initial one. They keep pouring money, like they keep extending his contract with dead years to help to mitigate the cap costs. What are they going to do under center? They had Russell Wilson in for a visit after they traded for Kenny Pickett. So they're obviously not even settled. And who knows what, I mean, if Russell went there to visit, so they could be a wild card and maybe they make a move nobody's expecting to get a quarterback, because I didn't have Russell Wilson even visiting Cleveland on my bingo card this offseason.
No matter who the Browns get, man, sometimes when you get your ass knocked out by just a better person, you just gotta shake that man's hand and say, you know what, we lost. That's the Browns with Deshaun Watson. Hey man, that 230-something million we gave you, dog. Hey man, just go ahead and keep it, bro, because it's our fault, man. Sometimes you gotta man up and say it's our fault, and that messed them up for the next couple for another decade, man.
And while we're on the AFC North, just a reminder today that Mark Andrews has a $4 million roster bonus that triggered today. So I still think Mark Andrews is one of the better tight ends in the National Football League. I know the treatment and the hate he was getting after that playoff game. No one felt as bad as that young man. I can guarantee you that. But Mark Andrews will be back with the Ravens, and again, Mark Andrews would be a welcome addition to many teams around the National Football League.
Hey, would it be safe to ask the question, has Lamar Jackson run his course in Baltimore? I mean, he's still winning regular season games, but when it comes down to the playoffs, where it matters.
I think the Ravens they're better with him than without him.
Yeah.
I mean,
no matter what, you're not in this situation of going to the AFC Championship games or going close to it without Lamar. Lamar here. So and a lot of that's been on coaching. Yes, coaching has played a big time part. I think these coaches have really tried to blossom Lamar Jackson and make him the vocal point of the offense, when in reality, winning cures everything. Man, just win. We don't give a damn about, Trent Dilfer won for the Ravens. He didn't give a damn that he was the winning quarterback. No, we won the Super Bowl. That's all that matters, man. So I think if the coach staff says, Lamar, let's run the ball 45 times with Derrick Henry, and you can still be a winning Super Bowl quarterback. Okay, cool, coach. But they want to make Lamar pass it 35 times in the playoff games. It drives me crazy.
And so that's the thing, is they run it all year.
The fact that he's still selling gear, NFL gear. I mean, his jerseys are still flying off the shelf, but when I can say, when
Lamar will be all right. He's got a lot of money. Now it's about winning Super Bowls. That's it. Just win Super Bowls. You got MVPs. Win Super Bowls, man.
Yeah. Yep, he was sacked. That would surprise me too about the free agency or the question about the draft. They are not even talking about bringing up offensive linemen. He was sacked 23 times last year, and just in the playoffs alone. And you talking about, you couple that with 10 fumbles that he had, that can truly affect, the way a team goes when it comes to winning and losing, going into down the stretch. So I don't know. It's strange over there in Baltimore why they can't put together a team, even when they had Derrick Henry. It confuses me why they can't, go into the playoffs and compete.
Yeah.
Coaching decisions in the playoffs.
Then moving
That's
to
the
the
problem.
AFC South here, we go from like probably arguably one of the strongest divisions in the league to a very, I think, weak division. Thoughts on how the offseason has went for these guys, Dolph, Carlos, Cowboy?
Right
I don't
now,
know about this division right here. On paper, it seems like Tennessee Titans will be the team that should be running this division pretty much. But they playing just as bad as any, like you said, just being part of this division, and just as bad as Indianapolis. Why Indianapolis haven't went and got another quarterback? I don't know. I mean, Daniel Jones is not going to be the answer for them. I don't know if that offensive coordinator is going to be the one that changes for Daniel Jones. But I just don't know about Indianapolis having Daniel Jones. But I see Houston being that team in this division coming out with they are addressing issues that they had last year. And they're picking up people who can actually get the job done. Wide receiver Braxton Berrios, the edge Darrell Taylor, even Christian Kirk, and I think that was probably one of their biggest, should have kept him. Oh, no, not kept him. What was the guy
Well, they have. He'll be
wide
the
receiver
second to
that
Nico Collins. They have Tank Dell coming back from injury, so that's a pretty solid trio right there with Kirk, Dell, and
Yeah.
Nico.
We talk about Diggs.
Yeah. I mean, these are guys that as far as wide receivers can add to an offense, And so Houston, I think in this division here, they're going to come out on top.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Houston's one of the teams. Hey, know your lane. They know know your future lane. As in, like this coming season, know who you are. They know that they have a chance to be a really good team in the AFC. They made it to the division round 2 years in a row now, so they know what it takes to get there. It's all about that next step, the next hump. Well, I think they did well to me. They got Christian Kirk via trade. I love it. Also got C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
Via trade. That was huge. Now Gardner-Johnson we all know he's a locker room cancer. We all know that. But if you can get him his crazy ass for 1 year to help win the Super Bowl like he did with the Eagles last year, go ahead. Eagles said, man, this dude is great on the field and we love him, but boy, we hate this dude at the same time. He got to go. And they traded that man for an old lineman. So that's how I knew he was a cancer. He got traded for old lineman. Damn.
Yeah.
So okay. So anyway, Garner's there. Who when healthy and when he's in his right mind, he could really help out that defense that doesn't need a lot of help. I mean, they're a really good defense as it is already, and a young defense. Christian Kirk's there, and Sheldon Rankins also coming in. He's going to be a factor for them. So I do like Sheldon Rankins being there. And this team knows we can make the next step, and even a guy like Braxton Berrios, returner, slot receiver, he can make a difference in that game as well. Especially if they don't have Stephon Diggs with them anymore. So
yeah,
I like Houston. Rest of these guys, it kind of like good luck in the draft. How about that? There are these teams that actually do know their place, and they know that we cannot compete with any of the top percenters in the AFC right now. But let's get better. So let's do some plug and play, guys, and let's get better via draft, get younger, get better, and that's how you work it. If you're the Jaguars coach in Texas.
What's up, Jeremy? Welcome in.
What's going on, fam? How we doing today?
Doing good, Jeremy. How about you, my brother?
Good. Sorry, a little late.
Are you good, man?
Good, you're right on time, man.
And to your point there, Carlos, that was that last part you were saying about people being better. I mean, the team getting better than the other teams in the division, which is why we look the way we look as far as the Falcons are concerned. We already know we can get better than the teams and the rest of the teams in the division. What's concerning is the other teams in the division are picking up very key pieces to keep them competitive. The Saints, the Panthers. I mean, both of them have picked up players that I'm like, okay, what are we doing? I've had a second look at what we are doing. Who was that? And I had already said that if the Saints go and pick up, what's your running back over at Arizona?
The running back in Arizona. That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Isn't it Connor?
Scatterbo.
Oh, Arizona State. Oh, yeah. Okay, you talking about college? Yeah.
I mean, because that guy there is so severely underrated. But if any team in the NFC South picks that man up, we are done for as far as trying to stop the run, guys. I mean, that guy is another breed. He reminds me of he's played with Tampa Bay.
Mike Allstott.
Mike Allstott.
Yes. He's
boy.
man. I enjoy watching that guy's highlights, man. I mean, I've seen them all and have watched them 2 or 3 times a piece, and hoping he does not come to the NFC South. I'm just hoping. If he does, he needs to come to the Falcons.
Mike Allstott and Ward Dunn, my favorite duo back in the day. I used to love those 2 guys together, man. Jeez, that's before football was football back then. I used to love that.
And going off what you were talking about with Houston, Carlos, they traded Laramie Tunsil. Their offensive line gave up a egregious number of sacks last year.
Mm-hmm.
There's reports coming out of Houston from beat writers there that the offensive line locker room was a cancer within the team. So I think that's part of when people were surprised at why they traded Tunsil. They're getting he wasn't part of the solution, right? They did that poorly even with him. He's getting up there in age. So I think you see DeMeco Ryans, we talked about culture a couple times, cycling people out that maybe aren't fitting in like you see in that locker room cancer, and just being like, all right, we need to get new blood in here. We didn't really work out last year anyway, and we still made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. So I think for them, the offensive line is a big target in the draft, especially a tackle, because they don't have anybody currently to replace what they lost in Laramie Tunsil.
Does Daniel Jones going to the coach threaten the Texans' supremacy in the AFC South?
Hell
no. Nah. I think Daniel going to Indianapolis actually give them a chance to compete. Cause it was clear that Daniel Jones didn't get along with the offensive coordinator over in New England. So that may have had something to do with did I say New England?
Minnesota, New York.
So it was clear that they didn't get along. So maybe that's why I was saying earlier that if he and this is the coordinator for the Colts, if they're able to coordinate, they actually might become competitive.
Would I say to dethrone the Texans like Dolph said? No, that's no. But to be a better team and maybe get a wild card spot to Cowboys' point, yes, they could. I mean, Richardson was. I don't know what y'all say about Richardson. He's a headache to me. So just watching him play, I mean, sometimes you got to,
But we knew that.
They go to camp right now. I think Jones is on a camp. Honestly.
We knew that when he was coming out, and everyone knew that kid was not ready. Was not ready to be given the reins to a franchise. Right. He needed to sit behind a veteran and develop. They threw the kid out there. Now the kid is failing. Now this regime here, they want to move on from the kid. They say they're bringing in competition, but let's be clear, they're moving on from the kid. You're telling him, hey, we don't believe that you're the guy for us. And listen, he did himself no favors by doing something that we never saw before.
Right.
When he kept himself out the goddamn game. Now you the leader of the team. He lost half the team right there. But if I'm playing with you, man, you the damn quarterback. How you gonna come out the damn game? Despite what's going on. So and the person that not upsets me but confuses me the most is in Jacksonville. Because is it the quarterback or is it the organization failing to put the necessary pieces around the quarterback in Jacksonville? Jeremy, I'll get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence fan. I never really have been. I mean, I think Pearson was a good coach. I think it's on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I think you've had good pieces there. You've had ETN, you've had you had Kirk at one point. I mean, I don't think it's a lack of having pieces around you. I think it's the lack of being a good quarterback. I think he's always been looked at to be a better quarterback than he is. I'll say this year didn't do many favors. Half his wide receiver core went down. Thankfully, Brian Thomas Jr. stepped up and did great for him. But I really, to me, I think at this point, it's a change in quarterback. I think they've held on to Trevor Lawrence too long. I think Mac Jones, and look, I don't like Mac Jones, but I think he came in at times and looked more competent in that offense with what the pieces were. I think Trevor Lawrence has had a lot of rope. I think it's time to cut it and move on from him and see what they can do with somebody else.
I disagree with that, but I mean, no one was saying that 2 years ago when he was in the playoff. I get it, it's a what have you done for me now lately kind of league, but 2 years ago they were the cream of the crop for the AFC South. I think the team itself would just let Trevor Lawrence down. Yeah, he's not as messiah as some folks like to have him as, top 10 quarterback, but he's up there, 12, 13, 14, somewhere in that. He's still a really good starting quarterback. I think teams like Jacksonville, you've got to hold on to this guy. What are you going to get better than Trevor Lawrence right now that in your foreseeable future if you're Jacksonville? I would not have – hell no, Mac Jones. I don't give a damn. No. I know Mac
I'm not saying Mac Jones. God no.
If you're Jacksonville, what are you going to get right now within the next 5 years that's better than Trevor Lawrence right now? Nothing.
Probably nothing.
Nothing. You ready to pay the man all the money? Go ahead and stick with him because you need to get pieces around and make yourself better.
Yeah, I think it's real easy to point the finger at Trevor because he's probably the only big piece left from that time when they were from that playoff run, wasn't he? He may be the only big piece left. Everybody else has been traded or whatever. So he's the only one left, and so it's real easy to say, okay, yeah, Trevor's that guy. He's the mold that's not getting the job done. But I think the team, like you said, the team itself let him down by not
the organization,
consistently, especially when that offensive line got bad. Trevor, it's real easy to get your mind rattled too when you're a quarterback that's consistently on your back or either have to be on the run. But Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's that bad as people probably make him out to be. I think he's very solid, but when you have bringing a player like a Trevor, you have to build to the point where he feels comfortable back there to continue making those plays like the playoff year he had or playoff years he had.
Bradbury's a free agent, isn't he?
Who's that?
Bradbury.
Fat Boy Yogi.
Fat Boy Yogi for you, Cowboy.
Combo, would you take Bradbury for 2025 7th and 2026 4th?
No.
Yeah, Bradbury from
Philly. He's a free agent. Yeah,
free agent.
Yeah.
So the question is, would you take him? That's it. Would you take him to the Falcons?
No. And I tell you why, because my focus right now is the two key areas on defense. And that's not saying Bradbury couldn't get the job done. But for what our defense and the way we look, I would have to go Mason Graham. I want Mason Graham because we got rid of Grady. So that opens up a spot there. I mean, we got Ruka Rojo and Brandon Dorless. But do we truly know what these two guys have for the extent of a whole season? We brought these guys in on spurts playing behind Grady, and not having to carry that workload. But do they have what it takes to play, as to say, 3 or 4 plays out of a series consistently through a whole full game? I like the looks of what Rojo bring for us, and my faith is in him. However, when it comes to that edge rushing spot, or not edge rushing spot, but what we lost in Grady Jarrett, I mean, I have to say I want to fill that void because we did lose a lot in him, and he did produce for us. So and that hurts me, not personally, because I love Grady. And I understand it was a business aspect, but I have to go into the draft looking for somebody that who are already doing NFL type stuff, and I think that player is Mason Graham, and at the same time, right behind that, pick up Malik Starks to play safety, and I think for me that will solidify our defense.
Gotcha. All right, looks like we lost Lawrence. And Lawrence had our boards. Okay. All right, we're gonna keep this thing going. All right, since we talking Cowboys, since we got you right here, Cowboy. Today, a $10 million kicker kicked in, guaranteed money kicked in for Kirk Cousins. On your best estimate, is it a good idea to keep Kirk Cousins now, or would it have been better to release him? And then I got my my thoughts on it. I think I know why they're keeping him, but I'll
Yeah.
hear you.
It makes all the sense in the world to keep him. And for two reasons for me. One, the major concern that I have is Caleb McGarry being at his backside. He's not 100% dependable. Hasn't been. So if for some reason Michael Penix goes down, we still have a Kirk Cousins, a quarterback that can still get us to the playoffs. I mean, money wise, nobody's going to come in and pick up that contract. Yeah, granted, we didn't do ourselves any justice by signing him to deal like that. But when you look at the total deal in itself, it was actually cheap compared to what other teams are doing with these other quarterbacks. The downside to it is Kirk Cousins didn't give us what we thought he was going to give us. So now the deal looks like really bad. Because if Kirk had got us to the playoffs and or beyond, no one would have ever questioned that contract anymore. I mean, regardless of what it could be. But going back to Penix, do we know that Penix is that guy for us? Penix only played 3 games. He showed spurts of what he could do. Yes, it was a great idea to keep Kirk Cousins. Great idea.
Yeah, I agree. I keep Cousins as well. He might be the most expensive backup quarterback, but hell, I mean, if I know, I mean, God forbid, what if Penix does go down? At least you have a veteran quarterback who's been there, done that. And Kirk Cousins, I like the fact now. Kirk Cousins, is he pissed off? Yeah, probably so. I mean, his feelings are probably hurt. His pride is probably crushed. But he's still making a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? He made a lot of money. At the end of the day, he can just cry his tears with all those $100 bills in his hands and. You know, there's nothing wrong with being the highest paid backup quarterback in NFL history, bro. So, and just the way today's NFL goes, man. I mean, like I said, knock on wood, but he might get another shot. You know, if there's a barring injury to Penix, you know, we hope not.
No, for sure.
Yeah. So I like them keeping Kirk Cousins. Does Cousins want to go out there and prove himself to another team? Hell yeah, he does. But he knows it's still a business, and you know. Still a business, and it it is what it is, as they all say, bro. So I like to keep them. You just never know. I mean, you made your bed, laying it. You know, the Packers, you knew what you were doing in the first place. You knew you had a guy come with Achilles injury, you know, out of his prime, pretty much, but still a valuable quarterback. And he had some good. He wasn't flat out terrible. Right. But he did show some. You know, and that's why they did put Penix over him at the end. But I would like to have Kirk Cousins as a backup. It might be expensive, but like I said,
but who wouldn't want him as a backup? I mean, look at my team. I've talked about this how many times? We've had Kyle Allen and Mitch Trubisky as our backups. Like we go from Josh Allen to a Kyle Allen in the past or a Mitch Trubisky. That drop off is off a cliff. I mean. Granted, $100 million you're in on Kirk Cousins at this point still, but one, you're not going to find any way to take that contract at this point. And two, I want a serviceable quarterback. Hell, if we went and got Daniel Jones as our backup, I wouldn't be upset. In fact, go get Trey Lance and get him on the cheap and put him in our system as a backup quarterback because he has a similar skill set to Josh Allen as it is, right? Not the same arm, not the same build, but he's a mobile quarterback. That kills me.
Y'all will be greatly disappointed.
But I still believe in that kid.
Y'all gonna be greatly disappointed. Don't do it.
I mean,
don't do it, Jeremy. Don't talk.
Someone's trash is somebody's treasure. Look at Malik Willis. We talked about him before.
I want to see Trey Lance given a real good opportunity. You know,
see, I'm with Carlos on this one. I think the kid can still ball.
Give him a real
shot. Lance is just like Zach Wilson. Should have never been picked where he was.
No one wanted Malik Willis either. Look what he did this year. Just saying.
Won with 2 games for the Packers. Like 2 games?
I think 3. He actually saved them and got them in the playoffs.
I thought Willis was, he was. I thought, get him out of there. But no,
it's about where you go. Again, it matters where you go. You know what I'm saying?
It is. Sometimes you need to change the scenery.
Well, I guess a third change of scenery might work for him because the first two ain't working.
Look at Sam Darnold.
He never got a fair shake in both those as well. You know, obviously injury. Trey Lance, injury happened, bro.
Man, he got beat out.
He never got a true shot. I'm with Carlos. Never got a shot.
The injury happened, and your guy
Brock Purdy
and had a great year. And there's no way, as a franchise, you can go back to Trey Lance. This is no way you can.
100%.
None. If Purdy did not make the playoffs, or he was one and done, they might go back to Trey Lance. But the man went all the way to the NFC Championship, and then he got hurt. And he could have went to the Super Bowl with Purdy. Who knows? So at the year,
he came to Dallas. It was out of him and Cooper Rush. Cowboys traded for him.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, the reports coming out of here, because I'm in Dallas.
Yeah,
he ain't that dude, bro.
Nah, man.
He ain't that dude, bro.
Here's my only thing with that is, okay, throw him in a real game when it matters, and let's see.
He played this season.
He played the last game of the year with no one
Yeah.
about that
he
game.
really didn't get a shot in Dallas. He didn't have a chance in Dallas.
Man, stop making excuses for players, man.
You know why they did it? Because Jerry Jones didn't want to pay old Cooper Rush.
Yeah, that's it.
Money.
That's it.
Cooper Rush had
And now Cooper's gone.
Yeah.
Now what? They both gone.
Now Cooper's gone, and you don't have Trey Lance. All you guys is Dak.
I'm like, Trey Lance can go. You know, if I'm the Saints, I don't want to start him, but let's get him there. Let's
He's a backup
I
spot
want to
now.
see the potential for Trey Lance. I'm just saying. I want to see the real deal, man.
I agree. He was.
Somebody can kick those tires for cheap. He's got a lot of tread left on him, and you can bring him in for cheap and see what he can do. Look what San Fran gave up for him. If you can pick that kid up, thinking there's that talent.
What's the right fit? What's the right fit though? I look at fit.
Hell, I'll take him at the Bills, and I would not be sad. We need a better backup. I've been saying that for years. We've never invested in that position. I'd give him a shot. Why not? What are you going to have to pay him? Not much. What do you got to lose, right? On a former first-round pick, you got nothing to lose on that for the cheap.
If the Saints trade Derek Carter equipment, would it be?
Jerry, stop.
Lamar Jackson.
Our time, man. You know they.
No, he's not time like that, bro.
I love you, Jerry. I ain't even answer that. I let Carter. I'm not even answer that.
Another reason I would trade or release Kurt if he goes to the Saints. That's the only way.
Oh, you don't want that. No matter who our quarterback is, we beat y'all there. It don't matter. I mean, it don't matter. You know, it don't matter who the quarterback is. We suck and still beat the Falcons.
Oh man,
we 5-12, but my year was okay because we beat the Falcons. We split with it. We got it.
You know what? No, you know what? Every Falcon fan Saints fan comes in, and when they beat us, it's like they won a Super Bowl, which I take all day long. I take all day long.
But we know how it feels to actually win. Let's not blow it. Now this about to go a whole different way. But go ahead.
Hey, that was
Jeremy, this is where you got to wind us back in, Jeremy. You got to wind us back in.
No, I'm enjoying this. I'm just watching this unplay and unfold.
You got to
But
wind
the
us back in.
Falcons did not lose that. I'm gonna take that back. The Falcons did not lose that Super Bowl.
Who lost it?
He over there coaching over in San Fran right now.
You
don't think so?
No, every single person that had on that red and black lost that.
Well,
all of them.
I gave
many of the players on the field.
I went and I said, and ultimately the head coach is going to take the downfall, right? But I said Dan Quinn, when he heard that play come across the headset, he should have called timeout, said, "Hey,
Dan Quinn,
kick me my field goal." But see, Dan Quinn was a first year, second, but he was not. He's defensive coordinator.
He the head coach. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, he's the head coach. I said ultimately he's gonna set the downfall.
But ride them.
That boy,
hey,
just like over at
we gotta talk about this.
Just like over at San Fran, he's doing the same thing over there. His ego is getting in the way and has gotten in the way, and it's become the downfall of the 49ers with the same type of.
All right, Cowboys. So what deals you like so far outside of the Kirk Cousins $10 million whatever they did to keep him there for a minute? What deal do you like or don't like that Atlanta's made so far for the free agency?
I like that we brought back Mike Hughes.
Mhm.
I like that we've we're restructured a couple of contracts to to gain more money. But the move that I would like to see make happen is that we have to bring in that guy, whether it be Malachi Starks or Mason Graham. Those are only two moves I'm looking for this draft. Now, as far as all these free agency signings that we've got, Diablo, I mean, I like him. He brings the speed to to the defense. He's a sure tackler, which tackling was one of our problems last season. What's the other guy?
Mike Hughes.
No, Mike Hughes. He's already been there.
It's good for y'all.
But we have to shore up our
Leonard Floyd, Morgan Fox.
Yeah, and see, like none of these guys are not going to be that guy. See, and that's what Terry Fontenot is doing. He's filling the roster up with guys that are safe bets, and he hoped that something's going to come out of it. But he's not making that move. For us, the Atlanta Falcons, especially on defense, we have to find that guy, like Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson will set this defense off to the point where it'll be crazy, And you sign a Trey Hendrickson and then turn around and draft Malachi Starks. Come on, man. I mean, I like Mekhi Walker over at Georgia. I like Jalen Walker over at Georgia. I like all three of those guys. But at that safety spot is a true compliment to picking up a Trey Hendrickson. Okay. I love it.
All right, Don, what about New Orleans Saints, our favorite team out here, man? What do you like, what you don't like about their offseason so far with free agency?
What I like about the Saints offseason.
Be nice now.
Justin Reed was an absolutely splash signing that I didn't expect. I love that signing. He's going to bring that physicality to that secondary. Of course, he brings championship pedigree to that secondary. He's a Louisiana kid. He's happy to be back home. He's playing with Tyron again. I love the opening day of the of free agency, the trade for Devon Gacho, getting him from the Patriots for a 2026 7th-round pick. We know that the Saints seem to be switching to a 3-4 defense. You need that space eater, able to eat up blocks up front and get off blocks. He is that guy. He has been one of the top run defenders in the league the last several years. Then they re-signed Chase Young. I like it. A lot of people looked at the Saints re-signing Chase Young and were like, why? Let me just say this. You guys have heard me say this before. A lot of times we get caught up on the sexy stats. Sacks. How many sacks did he have? There are not a lot of, if you look at the NFL, you can count on probably one or two hands, almost on two hands, the number of guys who have had double-digit sacks in the season.
Yeah.
Chase Young affected the quarterback last year. 5.5 sacks. He had 66 pressures. He's one of the top defenders in the league in putting pressure on the quarterback. And he's still only 25 years old. He has a chip on his shoulder despite signing his contract. After signing with the Saints, he made it clear that this is where he wanted to be. He loved how he was treated. He loved his teammates. He loved the city, him and his family. And he had no plans of going anywhere else. And evidently, the coaches looked at the film and decided, hey, Chase Young is someone we want to be part of this defense. Then they reached back in the time a season ago as they bring back Isaac Yiadom on a 3-year, $9 million deal. We know when he filled in for Marshawn Lattimore for 8 games, he had 14 passes defense, 37 tackles. So they bring him back, and now a depleted secondary because Paulson Adebo signed with the New York Giants. Now you have a veteran in Isaac Yiadom. You have Alontae Taylor, and you have second-year corner Kool-Aid McKinstry. And I still look for the Saints to do something in the draft at cornerback. I don't think they're finished here. Maybe in the second round. I don't think they'll take a corner with the 9th pick in the draft. But Jawan Johnson coming back, I understand. He's frustrating. He's inconsistent. But then again, he was the number one tight end on the market ranked by NFL.com and PFF, and you re-signed him. They re-signed the veteran Dante Pettis to a 1-year deal, special teams. But, I mean, listen, Reed, Gotcha, it's changed, bringing back Isaac Yadam. Hey, let's just wait and see what Kellen Moore does, how he forms this team, and I'm just on the wait and see thing, man. But with the moves that they made, I'm not upset with it. I have no problem with it right now, Carlos.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence too. Didn't know how I felt about the Chase Young pickup as well. I mean, the pickup, but the re-signing. But I like his pressures are enormous. I hate the fact that he just doesn't get to the quarterback, man. Like he doesn't finish the job. Every time I see him, he's just close but no cigar with the quarterback. Like, come on, man. But no, you're right though. His pressures are is the reason why he's got that deal, though. Honestly. And as far as the acquisition for New Orleans,
but isn't that what it takes, though, Carlos? Isn't that what it takes to get to that pressure? Because even if Chase does not get him, let's just say Chase does not get him, but he brought that pressure.
Yeah,
you got somebody else in that line that like Von, who could possibly get the sack.
That's just the issue. We had nobody else getting the sack.
That's pretty much what the same predicament we in. Yeah.
A quarterback can get out of that pressure and throw for first down. I've seen that a lot, too many times. You know, on a different team, that's probably a sack by somebody else or by him. Yeah. But
pressure does make a quarterback do some ill-advised things too.
Oh yeah. But in today's NFL, when you're pressuring Kirk Cousins, it's different from pressuring anybody else. You can pressure all day. These guys are going to get out of that pressure.
Yeah, mobile quarterback. Yeah,
mobile quarterbacks. Yeah. You pressuring, Kirk Cousins or someone like this, a standstill quarterback. That pressure.
That's what I also like about Penix too, because Kirk Cousins took a lot of sacks last year that he could have gotten away had he had some wheels up under him. And that's what Penix brings. Penix is not going to. He's not going to be another Michael Vick. Let's put it like that. But at the same time, he does have wheels up under him where he can get out of that that quote unquote pressure that we were talking about. Right. He's not going to sit there and just ball up and take a sack, which inadvertently helps us out a lot. And what I like about Penix too he doesn't overlook those short throws. Unlike Cousins, who was trying to make the big play just about every play. Penix loves those little 8, 9, 10, 11 yard type throws that that can extend anybody's offense.
Let me just say this: and we all heard this before. The most popular player on the team is the backup quarterback, especially a young quarterback. Penix came in, showed a little something, but guess what? You got a whole off season. Teams got film on you now.
Mm-hmm.
What you go do? You really don't know what you got. You think you know what you have in Penix, but you really don't know what you have in Penix. Mm-hmm. So to me, I believe that's one reason the Falcons are holding on to Kirk Cousins, but also I believe that they're holding on to Kirk Cousins. Let's say when the trade deadline comes and a team needs a quarterback, maybe a contender team. Hey, they call up the Falcons. And what's it gonna take for us to get Kirk Cousins? You bring in a veteran like Kirk Cousins, and you keep that ball rolling. Yeah. But I don't think that I understand Penix is going to be your starter. Young man got great potential, but we got to see it for a full season. Yeah, we have to see it for a full season.
I can't wait to see him. I mean, he is that guy. I actually wanted him to come in and start, to be honest. But Kirk Cousins was already here. And I think Kirk Cousins and people make I mean, like I said, it was a stretch to believe that Kirk Cousins got petty after the pickup of Penix. But you talking about a guy who has a huge chip on his shoulder. When he went to Minnesota, he did the same thing. When he went to Washington, he did the same thing. He had a chip on his shoulder. And in both organizations, he got into it with the administration. I mean, both administrations. So he came here and with the intentions of being that man here in Atlanta, and you go pick up a quarterback, first round, 8th pick, you already know your time is limited.
What it's about? What did they tell him in those meetings to get him to sign on the dotted line? Besides that $100 million contract,
But you know, ego come in. You know, you can.
I mean, I understand that, but damn it, if I'm in contract negotiation and you already have serviceable backup quarterbacks on the team, and I'm signing with you, and then and you hell, I find out watching the draft that you actually decided to take a quarterback in the first round. You didn't call me and tell me. You just say, hey, just to let you know, hey, if this kid's there, we taking him.
Yeah,
you know, you just went on and did it.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, he probably Kirk Cousins probably felt disrespected too.
Yeah,
because you got to figure, you know, he didn't find out until after the pick, and then he turns around later on, finds out, hey, I'm not getting my number 8 jersey from Kyle Pitts. So I mean, come on. Oh,
I'm talking to my cousin. My cousin Red Swan came in here. Get that head out your hole.
Red Swan. Hey, what's up, Red Swan? Hey,
first of all, I'm not hating, bro.
Hey,
you know I ain't hurt, man. Yeah, that's my third cousin, man. You know, one from my mama's side, man. But anyway, Red. Whoa, you already know, brother. I ain't hate, bro. I'm just telling the truth. Just slow your roll, bro. Just slow your roll. I'm just saying, be careful, man. Be careful. That's all I'm saying. But hey, let's go to the NFC North right quick. There's a team in the Minnesota Vikings that quality is kept. The Vikings have had a good offseason. When you look at the additions, first off, they re-signed Aaron Jones, which I think was wise. But then I like the trade they just made with the 49ers as they pick up running back Jordan Mason for a 6 rounds a pick this year as they swap with the 49ers. And then on the offensive line, they agreed to a 2-year deal with Ron Kelly, the center. They signed guard Will Fries, who was one of the most top-ranked linemen in free agency this year. Excuse me. They signed former Commanders defensive tackle Jonathan Allen. Now, a contract signed, a 2-year, $30 million contract to Javon Hargraves. A lot of people were up in arms about that, but it's only for 2 years. And listen, if it hits, it's a great hit for them. Linebacker Eric Wilson is back, and they re-signed cornerback Byron Murphy. I like what the Vikings did. Now the thing is, who's gonna be that quarterback? Is it going to be your first round pick from last year, McCarthy, or could it be that guy walking on the beach and smoking mushrooms or whatever the hell he's doing, Aaron Rodgers? You know, and if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I'm looking at a team to go to, you damn right, I'm gonna look at the Vikings. Aaron Jones, my running back. I got arguably the best. Arguably, you can put he in that fight. Justin Jefferson, Addison on the other side. You Hockenson, the tight end.
Yep.
You got a good offensive line, a good defense. So I'm telling you right now, put Aaron Rodgers in this offense. We saw what Sam Darnold did last year. Now, say what we want. We were all on here. We got the week on as the NFL turn. You know, me and Carlo, we was like, man, Aaron Rodgers need to retire, man. But toward the end of the season, the last 5-6 games, Aaron Rodgers started to look like Aaron Rodgers. So, somewhat.
I'm sorry. I can't.
Somewhat. But he just, I listen, but the Jets had a lot of stuff going on with them. And a lot of people automatically figured that it was Aaron Rodgers, but it was actually the damn team. No. It was actually the team. This comes from credible sources. So it was actually stuff going on with the team. So stuff that he didn't agree that was like people not being held accountable. Just a lot of stuff behind closed doors that was going on. But I like what the Vikings did this offseason. What about you guys?
I think what the Vikings did, I think they got the biggest unknown person, which is Will Freeze from the Colts, the right guard. I thought that was something they needed. I thought that was, in my opinion, probably the best acquisition of the offseason so far that no one's talking about. Like, 5-year deal, $88 million. He's a road runner, man, and he's a guy that can crush it on the run, and that lets them know if you get him, a guy like him who's a great run blocker,
Right.
you're probably looking forward to maybe starting your young quarterback. Aaron Jones in the backfield can still run that ball, although he has some fumbling issues. He can still run that football. We saw last year, but I think getting Will Freeze, man, really solidifies the running game, and I think the Vikings are they say, we're trying to prove that last year wasn't a fluke, although I think it is a fluke, but we'll find out. But if you start addressing that running game right now, you'll probably tell yourself, yeah, it's probably because we're going to have our young quarterback, as our starter this year in JJ McCarthy. So we want to solidify the running game before we can. We got our pieces, we got our weapons, right? But if our quarterback is struggling, we got to have a good running game.
Yeah.
So I like them getting Will Freeze, and I thought that was a huge acquisition for the Vikings, and probably the best one so far this year, in my opinion, for free agency.
All right. And now you look at what the Bears did. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy. Jeremy's going. If you look at what the Bears did, Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, Drew Dolman, solidifying the inside of that offensive line for their young quarterback, Williams. Your center and two guards. Tackle, I think they're all right at the tackles also. So what about the Bears placing emphasis on the offensive line to protect their young second-year signal caller?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, this is the kind of signing I was hoping that we would go in. No matter which side of the ball is it, the offensive side or defensive side, in that trench, this is where I wanted us to look like. going in addressing the replacement for McGarry, the replacement for Jake Matthews. He's getting up in age. Lindstrom is solid. Chris Lindstrom is very solid for us, but for Chicago, and then, what's his name? I keep remembering his name. He's one of the smartest general managers in the league. But say again.
Talking about Howard from the Eagles?
No, from Chicago.
Yeah, what's Pace or something?
Ryan Poole.
Ron Poole.
Yeah, he and Terry Fontenot, I think, in my opinion, are two of the smartest general managers in the league. They're young, they're up and coming, and they both came along as scouts. So they know how to build. But for me, being a fan, and since '78, this is where I want our free agency and our attention drawn to, is in the trenches.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you right now, breaking news. First of all, I think the Bears had the best offseason, in my opinion, getting that O-line. But here's even more breaking news. That O-line is not for Caleb Williams. That O-line's for Ashton Gentry when they get him. I guarantee you they're getting that running back in the future. That O-line is not for Caleb Williams' protection. They know that Caleb Williams can make things happen when he gets out in space. That O-line is for when they bring in Gentry from Boise State, when they get him in the 8th overall pick in the draft. That's when they'll go up for him. I guarantee you that O-line was there to solidify that running game that they've been lacking over the last couple of years. Even when they had a guy like Montgomery, unfortunately, you had a running quarterback in Fields where you prioritize Fields over Montgomery. Well, now you lost that Montgomery running back. So let's get Gentry. You got an O-line, and I guarantee you, Ben Johnson, we know, speaking of Montgomery, he had Montgomery last year as the OC for the Lions, so he knows what a great running game can do to your offense and how it can spread it out. So I guarantee the Bears made that not for Williams. They made it for Gentry. That's the only pick I am guaranteeing, player and franchise, is Gentry going to the Bears, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to run that football, and then they rely on Williams, play action, and that kind of stuff. But that is what I'm seeing right now for Chicago, and I love it because it's all about the big uglies. One of the few teams that really addressed the trenches early. This is like even before free agency opened up, when they got the kid from the Chiefs, when Chiefs traded their lineman to the Bears. Yeah. They let them know. The Chiefs say, hey, we probably don't want to pay this guy a lot of money because we probably know we have to. And when you're a great team like the Chiefs and like the Eagles, you got to cut losses. It is what it is. You got to cut some guys, because guys want their money now. They got their Super Bowls. They want money now. So the Chiefs figure, okay, we can't pay this guy. Let's trade him for a 4th-round pick. And the Bears like, yeah, bring him in. We'll go ahead and use him for real. And not for the passing game. It's strict for the running game. That's what's going to happen. The Bears are going to be ground and pound like the old days. Like the years they made it to the championship games or the NFC championship games, is because of their running game. And they're going back to that now. I love it.
So just off the top of y'all head, which team you think has signed the most free agents this offseason?
Signed the most?
Yeah, re-signed they own and bought they new all together. Which team you think?
Eagles.
Probably Minnesota.
Minnesota and the Eagles. Not even close. The Washington Commanders, runners up in the NFC champ. They've signed 21. Not listen to me. They got 21 players that they either re-signed or bought in.
Okay, I missed the re-sign part.
Yeah. Of course, we know about the Debo trade. Zach Ertz re-signed.
Mm-hmm.
Then they, of course, they try to solidify the left side of the offensive line. They trade for Jeremy Tunsil. They bring him in. They re-sign Marcus Mariota as the backup. I saw that coming. KJ Osborne is re-signed. Now, on the defensive side, they bring in Javon Kinlaw. Bobby Wagner re-signs. They signed cornerback Jonathan Jones. Now, a sneaky signing that I think was a good signing, and Carlos, you might agree with this, is Will Harris. They signed the safety. They signed him to a 2-year, $8 million contract with a value max value of $10 million. They re-signed kicker Zane Gonzalez. So altogether, they got 21 transactions that they have made. And man, listen, how this franchise's hopes and outlook has changed from them being fortunate enough to get what every team needs. If you get that guy under center and he's young on a rookie contract, it could change your franchise. And when they play as special as Jaden Daniels did this past season. Now, the season before, it was C.J. Stroud. To me, C.J. Stroud had a sophomore slump. Now, that's the thing for Jaden Daniels. Can you avoid a sophomore slump this year? Now, just like the Texans, to me, the Texans kind of withered under all the expectations of them in the offseason. Last offseason, everyone was talking about the Texans as a possible Super Bowl contender. Maybe it was too fast, too soon for them. I say that to say the same thing now with the Commanders. Expectations. Debo's coming in. You traded for Larry Tunsil. You bought the D lineman. I just said from the 49. You bought Hargrave in. So a lot of good moves. Zach Ertz is re-signed, and not to mention what you do in the draft.
They stole Eddie Goldman from us.
Yes, the thing is, what can you do for an encore this season? That's the big test for Dan Quinn, and that's the big test for Jaden Daniels. And I'll hear you guys' comments on that.
I think Daniels and them are going to look. First of all, different conference. The AFC is brutal. We know it's brutal from head to toe. Pretty much, it's a brutal conference. So expecting him to be a Super Bowl contender in year 2, C.J. Stroud, excuse me, that was going to be a tough gamble. And outside of that, he made it even harder for himself by, joining the podcast game now already, right? Year 2, he's got his own podcast. So a lot of times he's going to, he's putting himself out there for critics to doubt him or say, hey, man, concentrate more on the offseason, yada, yada, whatever. Dan doesn't do none of that.
Yeah.
Dan's not, I don't know what he's doing, but he's not doing any of that podcast stuff. He's not throwing himself out there into social media. He's going out there just playing his game. And 1, 2, I think his style of play, people want to play with him. That's a guy that you could tell, although Stroud had an amazing year as well, Jaden Daniels gravitated that entire team, man. I mean, he made that entire team what it was. And this is a team that didn't really have a running game per se. You look at Robinson. I mean, Brian Robinson was their running back 1, but he didn't get a lot of yardage for an entire body of season. Of course, Austin Eckler, he plays the scat back style. But as far as everything was ran through my man Daniels, and people want to play with him. I don't see a sophomore slump coming because 1, the conference is still the NFC and it's a lot easier. But 2, just the fire I saw from this kid. Although Stroud had a great year, he was never in an MVP conversation 2 years ago. Jaden Daniels was legit MVP conversation throughout the entire year. He was never going to get it because he's a rookie. But he was, man, for about 9-10 weeks of the season, out of 17 weeks, he was a legit MVP candidate in my eyes. And look, people are gonna love playing with this guy. Zach Ertz, I know he loves playing with this guy. He kind of brought his career back up and made him relevant again. Bobby Wagner, like my girl Megan said, Bobby Wagner's back. He re-signed with Dan Quinn, those guys, and I'm loving what this team is doing. Hey, bring in Tunsil to stay blocking for Daniels, and sky's him for this team. Now, as far as the NFC East is, look, when you win the Super Bowl, I don't care who you are. I said it earlier. When guys win that Super Bowl, it's not about it's about money now.
Yeah,
I got my Super Bowl ring. There's no more. I want to get paid. So when you see the Eagles, how they let go of Sweat, how they let go of Williams, how they let go of a lot of these guys, look, we can't pay everybody, and that's how it is. That's why you don't see too many dynasties in the NFL, because you just can't pay these guys, right? And this isn't the NBA where one person can help you win a championship. No, this is the ultimate team sport in football. So a lot of these guys want their own individual accolades as far as money wise. Now, once they win a championship, bro, I got to get paid now. So you see these guys, and they will gladly go elsewhere to get that big money, because we already had that thing called a Super Bowl now. Now I ain't worried about that. Let's get paid. So Eagles, and to say that, they're still gonna be a great team. You got Saquon Barkley back there. I have no doubt the Eagles will be in the playoffs yet again. And then the one team that I'm looking at, like, what the hell are you doing? The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, Jerry Jones is going to say, I like our squad right now. What we have right now. No, he is full of crap.
Yeah.
Tony is full of crap. Him and his son, the same thing. We like the team that we have right now. No, you do not. You didn't like him last year. You just said the same face. They, once again, besides re-signing their D tackle, I forgot his name. He's got a big long last name. But besides re-signing him, the Cowboys haven't done that much this year.
Yeah. That's why I was being surprised they were able to hold on to Michael Parsons. And you saying people want that ring. I was surprised that Myles Garrett re-signed with Cleveland. But money talks, right? So
money talk, $40 million per year. That talk to anybody.
Yeah, and that's why I was pushing so hard, man. I'm talking about. I did so many videos on Jayden Daniels, man. When we had the opportunity to move up in that draft, I was like, I don't care what it took. We should move up in that draft, leverage this draft, and get Jayden Daniels. I was watching this kid. The only thing that I could pick that was wrong with him, well, he was a little thin. Yeah. You could put 10 pounds on him, right. But that guy was, watching him at LSU, man. I mean, and I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. So I was watching this kid, and I'm like, this guy is doing stuff that NFL players are not doing. Starting quarterbacks are not doing. So when we didn't get him, and he ended up at Washington, I already knew what was Washington going to do. And like you said, Washington don't have that run game, which is why they only signed Jeremy to that 1-year deal. They're going to go get a running back. Who that be? I don't know. If it ends up being Scotterbo, oh my goodness, you talk Super Bowl. But they surrounded Jayden Daniels with more weapons, because they didn't lose anybody. So they actually brought in more weapons from him with guys who can make them plays on third downs. Okay, you look at Debo, look at Osborne. Both of those guys are third down type receivers. Yeah, Debo back in the day, because he was that guy you can count on to go on to first down and more yardage. But he's a third down receiver. Zach Ertz, they re-signed him. They re-signed John Bates. I mean, these are sure-handed guys, perfect for Jayden Daniels, perfect for a guy like Michael Penix, like what we need, which is why I can't understand why we ain't addressing that tight end position at all. But, they came in, and Dan Quinn is a defensive guy, so he knows what it takes. So you look at the defensive guys that he brought in the trenches. Eddie Goldman, yeah, he's up in age, but at the same time, he still was a solid type of guy that can stop the run. Javon Kinlaw, Bobby Wagner, you talking about guys who can play the game. They are not old, but they can get the job done. These are defensive guys that has been their whole career. And, Dan Quinn knows that. And that's why he either re-signed him or went and got him.
Go ahead, Dolph. Muted, Dolph. Muted. I got you.
All right, so just give Bobby Wagner his gold jacket when he retires. Let me first let me get that out of the way. Now, back to you guys saying with the Cowboys, they were quiet to reach him. Now, I like some of the moves they made. The moves that they are making are risk rewards. First of all, they get Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams.
Mm-hmm.
That's upgrades to what they had in the backfield, Carlos. I see your face. That's upgrade.
Go ahead.
Health Javonte Williams is better than Rico Dowd, in my opinion. Then you got Dante Fowler Jr. He comes back to the Cowboys. Now, Carlos, he really gonna shake his smile on this one. They picked up and signed a player who was a first-round pick, but had a problem staying on the field. But when he did play, the few times he did, you knew he was on the field. And Peyton Turner. I'm telling you, just watch that. Then they got Solomon Thomas from the 49ers.
That's what I think about you. I thought you were going to say Solomon Thomas at first. Yeah. Peyton Turner might be because he's still young enough.
Yeah, he's still young.
I like the Peyton Turner one because he's still young enough, and he might be the Zach Bond.
Listen, the only thing we can say about him is he was goddamn not available enough.
Yeah, it just wasn't.
But when he did play, he made his presence felt. Now you look at they trade for former Oklahoma linebacker and I almost say San Diego Chargers again, LA Chargers linebacker Kenny Murray. They bring Murray in. I like that. So the Cowboys have started to do some things right in free agency, but a lot of their signings is right now, I think it's kind of bargain based with the hopes that they hit. That somebody
I'm mentioning right now, Dolph Wife, a Cowboys fan, man. So he's sucking up right now.
That's what it is.
He's sucking up right now, man.
I'm speaking facts right now.
You can say
I'm just speaking facts, bro.
Those are not needle changers, except for Peyton Turner. Turner had the ability to be a needle changer. Those guys are not needle changers. Miles Sanders had his shot already with a team outside of the Eagles when he's left there. He went to the Panthers. He's the number one guy. Did his part for that team.
Wow.
So I mean, they're just pieces.
What about Javonte Williams? Javonte Williams.
There's a reason why he's so young and on another team, right? He's so young and so talented. Why is already in year 3 or 4? He's already on another team. And Sean Payton know a thing or two about decent running backs. He know a thing or two about it.
Yeah,
let that man go. I'm saying, like, I get it. Every man's strategy, someone's treasure, and the Cowboys could pop up with these guys. But as far as like changing the needle, the Cowboys have not done that one bit, and they're looking at teams like the Commanders and the Eagles that aren't going anywhere officially now because the NFC East was a revolving door. Every year it was someone different when the champ. We know that
those two teams had something the Cowboys didn't have. They had their starting quarterback the whole year. If that plays the entire season for Dallas, they're in the thick of the playoff race.
Hey, I'll tell you, though.
They probably are. They probably are somewhere in that wild card range to win the division, maybe. But still, I'm not. Nah, that's not moving the needle for me, dog. Not their picks. Peyton Turner is the upside because he could be like the Eagles' Zach Bond, right? Because we just don't know about the kid because he didn't play. So, but the rest of those guys, I've seen them. Murray for the Titans, now he's with the Cowboys. I've seen them. Not a needle changer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now that you read that note that your wife slid over there to you.
Yeah, that's what he did. Yeah, go on there.
Throw it in the trash. Dump it in the trash. Don't even. Tell you like you did your job.
First of all, y'all gonna start hating on those boys like that.
Cowboys have one major problem.
Hey, they made the same kind of moves last year, and everyone was in uproar. And Jared Jones said,
it's nothing to get in the uproar about. That's the thing. It's not people are saying that they're being too conservative, that they're not doing enough right now. But right now, this is paper championship. Right now, you can have all this on paper. It don't mean nothing. You got to strap it on and go on the field. So everybody winning this offseason awards for what they're doing, congratulations, because you win absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
it's not even August yet. We still in goddamn
like the biggest thing last year. We're being so conservative when we had Derrick Henry in our freaking lap.
Hey,
right? A game, a franchise-changing player.
Lives here in Dallas.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I'm saying, like, they're like, we don't have the money for Derrick Henry. When you absolutely do have the money for Derrick Henry, you just didn't want to spend it, Jerry Jones. He didn't want to spend it. That's all it was. I didn't want to spend it.
That's one problem
we're talking $14 million per year for Derrick Henry. from the
Yeah.
running back position. He didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go ahead and wait for CeeDee Lamb and then until the money gets too high, and I gotta pay CeeDee Lamb. You know what I'm saying? I gotta pay Dak Prescott all this money. He's making all the wrong moves, man.
Yeah.
Either they're waiting too long to sign the right people, or they ain't signing the right people at all. They're not even paying the right people that want to be there. Derrick Henry had a whole freaking house in Dallas, wanting to be with the Cowboys.
No.
Damn near begging, yeah, I'll be a Cowboy. And Jerry Jones like, yeah, we can't pay him. We ain't got the money. Man, what the crap?
We got Rico Dawg.
we got Rico Dawg. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
No slap at Rico, bro. You just
Rico,
him, bro.
He still had 1,000 yards rushing when it was all said and done. So I mean, I got
he came into his own this season, man.
Towards the end of the year, he was doing
he was doing his thing, man.
What I'm saying is, if Jerry Jones and that front office are always talking about championship or bust in that quotation, but you never see it via. Where's that big splash at? Where is that championship or bust mentality?
Well, they made that big splash so many years. How many years did they make that big splash when we were like, oh man, that look going to the Cowboys? And what did they give them? Nothing.
You know what the biggest problem in Dallas is? Jerry Jones.
Oh,
because if you look at from the tenure from when he let go Jimmy Johnson.
Oh yeah,
and Jerry Jones took over the general manager responsibility.
The curse right there.
That was over and done with. And I told my father-in-law before he passed away. My father-in-law was a huge Cowboys fan. And I told him they would never rebound from this. Never rebound from this. Not as long as Jerry Jones is at the helm. He can be a team owner, but he's gonna have to be that quiet guy. He's not gonna, as long as he have any type of influence, they'll never rebound from this.
All I'm saying is because they have a good squad, and they do. Even right now, they have a decent squad to make the playoffs. But you're gonna mess around, and your window is eventually going to close for real, right? And the thing is, you don't want to be the Cowboys again playing like the Giants of now.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that big brand that's playing like the Giants. Now, you have the excuse of Dak Prescott was hurt last year, and I get that. So that's the reason why they only won 5 or 6 games, whatever they won. But you don't want that window to eventually close because now you're not that team that everybody wants to go to anymore. Nobody wants to go to Dallas anymore in today's society. No, we want to go to real contenders. You know, and then you start getting worried if you're a free agent in someone of Derrick Henry's caliber, which is very rare. But like, the Cowboys don't want me? Okay, I'll go to Baltimore then and have a legit chance of winning the championship.
No, you don't.
That's how I feel about that.
Or they screaming they want to come play for the Falcons.
Nobody screaming they want to go play for the Falcons, man. Hey, I damn near clicked them off the show there now with that.
I don't know about that.
Hey,
everybody wants to be a dirty bird, man. Come on.
I damn near clicked them off the show.
Everybody be a dirty.
Oh, you try to sneak that in. Talking about damn near clicked his ass off it with that.
Most people are doing the things. He did it better than some of the dirty birds.
Hey, Jamal Anderson, when I was going for the Falcons to beat the Broncos
dirty
back
birds is where it's at, baby.
98 was the last one I rooted for the Falcons. That was to beat the Broncos. Man. That was it. And had Jamal Anderson do the dirty bird, baby.
I ain't never rooted for
the
Hey man, come on, man. Everybody be a dirty bird.
Hey, I didn't become a Saints fan until '99, so
come on. Come on in.
1 year move.
Come on in.
Come on in. But no. Hey, overall, what I'm saying is, Cowboys, you legit got 2 teams that ain't going nowhere. Right, because like I said, there was a revolving door over the last 10, 15 years in the NFC East. Like everyone was winning, and there was never a double champion. Well, that could be different too this year. But I'm just saying is, we've seen Washington with Jaden Daniels, and now obviously Eagles extending Saquon Barkley, man, barring injuries. Those 2 teams ain't going nowhere for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Right. And the Cowboys, you want to stay with that, or at least get over that. And right now, they're not making moves to do that.
And even the Giants not going to lay down for them. Not for the Cowboys.
They might still.
Cowboys not finishing last in the end.
They not.
Hey, Carlo, let's go to AFC West right quick.
Let's go, man. AFC West.
Yeah, let's talk a little AFC West football, guys.
All right, man. AFC West off season. Obviously, we got the defending AFC champion, excuse me, the
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City Chiefs, and then we have the others. Pretty much talking about the Chargers, the Raiders,
All right.
and Broncos. Those 4 teams. Who do we think had the best offseason so far out of those 4 teams?
Before we jump on that, let me just ask you guys this and everybody in the chat. Does the AFC West have the best collection of head coaches in the National Football League?
Ooh, you're talking Harbaugh. You're talking
So.
Jim Harbaugh, excuse me. Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, and Pete Carroll. Yeah.
Carroll.
Yeah, hey, yeah.
So
Yeah.
my thing is, hey, things about to get real a little tougher for the Chiefs, man.
Mhm.
They are. So the offseason moves for the Chiefs. They signed 2 backup quarterbacks. They bring in Gardner Minshew, then turn around and they re-sign Bailey Zappi to a 1-year deal. Kareem Hunt is back, and then they signed former 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal.
I like that. I like
that
and
one.
been healthy kids.
Yeah.
Does it now? They still have enough in them? We'll find out. We'll find out if he even makes the roster.
But you know what? I don't think that's why they brought him in there to find out if he had enough, if he got enough in him. Kareem Hunt is I ain't gonna like he injury prone, but he gets injured at the wrong time. So you have a guy like Elijah Mitchell come in. I mean, you talking about filling the void. He could very easily do that.
So what does that say about Pachenko though?
Huh?
What does that say about Pachenko?
Pachenko,
he's been dealing with injuries too.
Been hurt.
Yeah. I mean, they re-signed Juju, Jalen Moore, offensive tackle. They signed him to a 2-year, $30 million contract. They franchise tag offensive guard Trey Smith, which he'll play that under 20. He'll get $23.4 million for the season under the franchise tag, and that's why one of the reasons they let Joe Tooney go, because they couldn't afford to play both of them. I like the signing of Jerry Tillery, the veteran D tackle, rotational player. They get him in for a year. Nick Bolton re-signed, who I think. And shout out to Coach. Coach loves Nick Bolton. Think he's one of the one of the best linebackers in the National Football League. Yeah. Then they signed, bringing cornerback Christian Fulton, formerly of the Chargers. They signed him to a 2-year, $20 million deal. I like everything that they did, and I see they're going to have a battle for the backup quarterback spot in Kansas City. Would it be Gardner Minshew? Or will it be Bailey Zappi? And then you look at the
Let me apologize too. I was referring to Pachenko being as the injury-prone guy, not
Kareem Hunt. Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry about that. But as far as the quarterback room competition goes, I think Gardner is going to win that. And Gardner's actually a decent, solid quarterback. He just let's just say he probably won't be given many opportunities to get shell shocked back there. I mean, because he kind of try to force to make the big plays even when it's a short throw. You know, he's make ill-advised decisions, but he's a solid quarterback. He can continue to win football games if what's his name goes down.
Holmes.
He can go down. I mean, Garner can keep winning. Now Billy Zappi, I don't know. That 1-year deal probably says a lot.
This is a bunch.
Have y'all watched Gardner Minshew last year?
Say it one more time.
Minshew is made to be a backup. Now he's had a lot of opportunities to be the starter, and that's the issue that we have. He's not a starting quarterback. But he's a guy that can come off the bench and give you a spark if need be. Now, when he get the opportunity,
limited time,
probably the last week of the season,
for limited time now. For limited time,
1 or 2 weeks time.
No, we start pushing 5 weeks. We're in danger. We're in danger. Let me just say this: don't nobody believe in Gardner Minshew more than Gardner Minshew. Let me just say that.
Man, and guess what?
And he's supposed to. And he's supposed to.
Look, the team I'm looking for, the Raiders. They haven't made any huge splashes, but I think the re-signing of Max Crosby was huge for the culture, right? Because there were a lot of rumblings about we're trading Max Crosby in this kind of package deal, and a lot of teams went, "Well, Pete Carroll got the job." I'm pretty sure Pete Carroll said, "Man, look, that's the best player on our team. He's one of the top 5 DNs in the whole entire NFL. We got to keep this guy. So they kept him $35 million per year for the next 3 years. That extension, I love the fact they did that for Max Crosby. On top of that, they got guys like Jeremy Chin, safety. That I thought was a big deal for their defense. Their defense needs a lot of help, and Jeremy Chin solidifies that. They also got a few old linemen as well from free agency. And so I was talking about Gentry going to the Bears. The other team that could look for Gentry is also the Raiders. Who knows if the Raiders want to get him as well? But I'm saying, like, you gotta. Pete Carroll is the right guy that's gonna make people respect him. He is a player's coach, but also a hard ass player's coach. You know, and he demands respect. The man is 70+ years old, and he's done a great job. He's won a lot of football games, and he's gonna already command that respect. This is totally 180 from Pierce, you know, who didn't that was his first head coaching gig. So I mean, but now they have a different culture.
He really wasn't bad at it. He really wasn't bad. He lost his starting quarterback. So I mean up to that point, it seemed like everything was looking.
His problem was he's just too old school. You start calling out players every now and then on the podium, and guys don't like that, man.
Well, it's a time and a place to do it. I mean, he did it was a different aspect of it.
Yeah,
a lot of guys.
That was that Mike Singletary moment.
Yeah. Can't play with him. Can't work with him. Can't do it.
Don't want him.
Don't want him. Don't need him. Vernon Davis. His heart with his ass here and there. Whoa. Don't want him.
Don't need him on my team, baby.
Exactly.
So
he was doing a lot of that, man.
So let me ask y'all this: with them trading for Geno Smith, does that automatically take them out the possibility of drafting a quarterback?
No.
And number 8?
No.
It doesn't take him out. I mean, because now it's going to depend on the actual field. If some guy slide, let's say Sanders slides to 8, whatever. There's a great chance I want to get that guy.
Yeah.
You know, but if those top 2, we're talking about Cam Ward and Sanders, if they're going about more, they're going a different route, and it could be running back. I don't know, but at 8, where's Chicago at? Is Chicago at 10? Where the Bears are they at?
No, I think the Bears are. Let me look at the draft order right now.
But while you're doing that, Geno had proved that he's a journeyman quarterback. You know, he's been around. He's been around for a minute, so he can win games too if called upon.
Right.
I think the Raiders are either going 1 or 2, either like Carlos said, is either running back or a quarterback.
The Bears 14, Carlos.
Raheem being on the sign to a 1-year deal. I think that's probably a gimme that they're gonna probably look for another running back too.
Yeah, they on 14.
Who?
The Bears.
How?
Did they give away a pick?
The Saints are number. Yeah, because the top 3 is
Saints number 9.
Number 9. So hold on, let me update.
Tennessee, Cleveland, New York.
Yeah, I got to get an updated one. The one I did was not updated.
Okay, Chicago's at 10. So Raiders are at 6. So if the quarterback isn't there by 6, I mean, then they'll go. But there's being at 6, I get it. Geno Smith is your quarterback, but I guarantee he ain't your franchise quarterback. You know, if for some reason Shedeur Sanders or Ward drops to 6, which is highly unlikely, but if it does happen, they're gonna take him.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, though, Geno Smith is still a quarterback that can get you to the playoffs. We saw it last year.
Right.
The year before that, we saw him go to the playoffs.
Well, one thing we know the Raiders want not go take that in the first round. That's a tight end.
No. You ain't
gotta worry about that.
Hey, you gotta worry about that guy at all, man.
You ain't gotta worry about that.
That dude is gonna be the truth.
He was the Brock Bauer was the only other guy in that draft that I would think that Atlanta should have sacrificed a couple of picks to go get. Because like I said, he was doing stuff on the college level that players on the NFL level.
Man, I was praying to God we can get Brock Bowers, man. I want to Brock Bowers.
That guy he does it all.
Carlos, I still think if the Raiders didn't take him, I think the Saints would have took him.
Yeah, I think so. I think they
took
gonna get him.
But I'm gonna say this. They got Brock Bowers. Michael Myers is not a bad back number 2 tight end. Remember,
no, he's not.
They drafted him the year before. He was a top tight end. So
He
they
came
got
from Notre Dame, right? Was it
right
Notre Dame?
from Notre Dame. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what Pete and well who. Oh man, they got Clint Kubiak as their offensive. Well, he's in Seattle.
You
But
know they're gonna run the ball.
they got to run the ball.
You
So
know
that
you're
two
gonna
tight end set.
you know that Genty might be there at 6. If
Yeah.
not, for sure, Genty going to the Bears.
And then they signed Raheem Mostert to a 1 year,
Yep.
$2 million deal. And we know he's explosive. He's a threat to take it to the house every time he touches the ball. So I like what the Raiders are doing.
So I mean, it's not a lot of fancy stuff, but it's something to get you on the positive route. Pete Carroll ain't no dummy. This isn't his first rodeo. Obviously, like Megan said, he's 74 in September. So I mean, dude's been there, he's done that, and I think he's got another chip on his shoulder, man. And you know, Pete Carroll loves standing that West Coast, man. So I love what the Raiders are doing. So yeah,
Chargers. Let's touch on the Chargers, and then we move on. Najee Harris only getting a 1 year deal to me. That surprised me. The kid's had 1,000 years, 1,000 yards, excuse me, every year he's been in the NFL. And we know the Steelers' offensive line last year, he was running behind maybe two. I think the Steelers had two, maybe three rookies up front, and he still rushed for 1,000 yards. He's a hard runner. I think to me, Najee Harris is the type of runner that gets better as the game goes on. You have to feed him the ball. You have to let him get into that rhythm, and you start seeing dividends of his style of running late in the contest.
Yeah,
I think Najee said it's a prove-it deal. I want to bet on myself. And I think he said, I'm going to the Chargers, which is Jim Harbaugh, who's going to love to run the football. He just didn't have the right pieces. Dobbins got hurt early in that year that kind of messed him up. You know, Gus Edwards can't be your number one. He's gone now also. But, you know, they relied on Gus Edwards for about a 4 or 5 week stretch that just did not work. But Dobbins being hurt really hurt that team in that running game. But then you get a guy like Najee Harris who can play all 3 downs and be effective, like you said, 1,000 years, 1,000 yards every season so far he's played. I'm telling you, he's gonna it's a bet on me kind of contract because he's looking for, if I do well this year, I can get that, not necessarily walking type money, but I can get that, you know, 4-year, probably $45 million deal that I'm looking for.
Right.
Yeah, and he's a big compliment to I was gonna say Cooper Kupp. What's his name from Georgia that they got out there?
Who's the say it again, receiver
for the Chargers? Who's that other receiver they got?
Oh, McConkey.
McConkey. Oh,
he's a big compliment to McConkey. You know,
oh my God,
both of them come out the backfield. And you talking about running that H back pass, screen pass for McConkey, and have the option of a Najee Harris going out on a running back. I mean, come on. I mean, that's a big, like you said, Jim Harbaugh's going to love it.
Right. And then in the city of Mile High, Sean Payton. Listen, the biggest signing I think they have, if he's healthy, 2 years removed from that injury, is Greenlaw, the linebacker from the 49ers.
Yes.
We all know when healthy, he can go. So, and that Broncos defense, let me just say, they already was good. They already good. It's already a good unit. Yeah. And they hit goal. They struck goal on a player that yours truly and many didn't see being successful in Bo Nix. But I got to get the kid his due. He won me over as the season went on. Hey. You know, he did his thing.
He won me over in 2 ways. He won me over. He beat the hell out of us too.
Yeah, they beat the hell out of us too. So.
Oh yeah. Hey, I do like Hufanga from the 49ers going to the Broncos. That was that too. 3 years, I think $40-something million they got.
45 million, 20 million guaranteed.
I like that deal. They got Evan Ingram as well. I mean, he's going to be a nice pick from the tight end spot. For them, a upgrade.
A real upgrade. A true tight end. A true threat. Got a true threat now.
Yeah. So I like that. So Broncos making noise, man. Like, you know, this is probably, albeit the Chiefs still find ways to go to Super Bowls, but it's still a very vulnerable team. You know, and as well as their record was last year, only losing 1 game. I mean, they could have easily lost 5 games last year, right? So I'm just saying, like, these teams are trying to go over the Chiefs, right? And like I won't be surprised if there's a team or two that's threatening Kansas City for the division this next year.
Oh,
Also, won't be surprised if the Chiefs blow the division out again. I mean, I'm just saying when you have a guy like Pat Mahomes, man, and
Yeah.
you know,
I'm gonna
regardless.
give the Raiders one more year,
Okay.
maybe two more years before they become in contention in this division. But the Chargers and the Broncos have just about everything they need to give Kansas City all the competition that they need, you know, to make this division, you know, as competitive as any other strong division.
Now, Cowboy, you say you're gonna get the Raiders 2 more years, but in the last few years, the team that's given the Chiefs the most problems in their division has been the Raiders. It's been the Raiders.
Yeah, I give you that, but I mean, as far as being,
as far as like, I think the Broncos have really been. I mean, they
past
haven't had any wins.
Well, this past season,
Broncos every damn year they play the Chiefs tough. They just find ways to lose.
Yeah.
That the Raiders have had an actual win.
Yeah,
or two over the Chiefs the last.
Yeah, for them to lose that game that they lost to the Chiefs this year, man, was like block field. I was like, man,
that's what I'm saying. Like that. Both these teams, Raiders and Broncos, especially I think the Broncos too, if they can continue gelling with Nixon, Payton, there'll be a threat of or something like that to the Chiefs.
Right. Yeah. And see now what you have, what's happening with the Broncos is you have a team that's starting to take on the personality of his head coach.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's why we always say, family, coaching matters.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be that alpha male to be a head coach in NFL.
Yeah.
Hey, you know and I hate to make fun of my head coach. I really do. But
Raheem, I don't.
And trust me, you're not the only one. I mean, you got fans and content creators that are doing the same thing.
I already told y'all. I'm gonna say it again.
Everybody's making fun of him.
He's the dog version of what we had in Dennis Allen.
Yeah,
he
has dog version of Dennis Allen. Like you said, on that personality of a head coach. You know, you see your head coach out there with capri pants, no socks on, and I mean, come on, man. I mean, he kind of. I'm not gonna say he looks soft. I'm not gonna go that far.
Man, fashionable, man.
At the same time, we know the kind of coach that Raheem Morris is. He is that type of player that everybody he speaks to, they gravitate to him. You know, when he lays out a plan, everybody buys into that plan. He's that type of guy. But at the same time, when you're losing the way that we were losing last year, the first person that they looked at was not Kirk Cousins because he was looking bad. It was Raheem Morris. You know, he put himself out there. And to me, a head coach is not the one that every time the camera hits you, you're like this.
Right.
You look at the camera, wondering what's going on. That's not the look. That's not a good look. You know, you want a coach that's engaging. Now, in 2016, when he was here, oh my goodness, you knew Coach Morris was here on the field. You knew he was there. Players, offense and defense gravitated to him. But he had a whole different personality this year, and I don't know why. And I hope he gets that back.
Right.
Let's go break down the NFC West before we get out of here,
guys. NFC West before we get out of here.
Yeah, that's right.
Megan, hold on, Carlos. I'm sorry. Let me
go ahead.
Our sister Megan said that, and that's insults DA. No, DA insulted the entire Who That Nation for 2.5 years for his lying ass, undercoaching ass. Everything Megan.
He lost me when he started apologizing to Arthur Smith.
That was weak as hell, right there. I guarantee you, Arthur Smith would have came across the field apologizing. The Falcons did that to us.
I'm telling you.
Weak ass.
You know why he wouldn't apologize to Arthur Smith? He wanted to come be a dirty bird. That's all that matters. He wants to be on this side of it. He want to be on this side of that border.
He's going that losing side.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Megan Seahawks.
And that's what I want to do too. My question is, the question I got for you guys, is Sam Darnold a better fit for Seattle than Geno was? What are they thinking about in Seattle right now?
Seattle. I'm not saying Seattle. Sam Darnold is a starting quarterback, barring what everybody thinks.
I agree.
But Geno he's not a starter. Geno can come in and win games, yes, but he do it at the expense of how that starter is playing. If that starter is goes down hurt, Geno can come in and he can finish the game and he can actually continue winning. But he's not that player that can come in and do what Jordan Love did and continue winning for seasons. You know, take over that job. Now he can win some games. I give him that, but he's not that guy that can consistently win the starting job.
I was on the Geno Smith bandwagon or hype train per se until this past year, and I watched a lot of Seattle games, and I saw a lot of Geno Smith and a lot of bad Geno Smith. This year, I was like, "Yo, he's really gonna mess around and lose that money that he actually wants," you know. And then you turn around and here comes Sam Darnold, has a great year, you know. And I think he lost money because of the last 3 weeks of the season, but still $100 million.
Yeah, $100 million.
My God, I was like, okay, Seattle. If Seattle feels like he's the guy, and he is a starting quarterback, I give you that.
Yeah.
There are 32 teams. He's one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion. Sam Darnold. So you give him $100 million. I thought it was still a way too much, but if Seattle feels like he is that piece, to get over the edge. But I don't know. I would still say Geno Smith's a starting quarterback out of 32 teams. He's the 31 of 32 best. So I don't see a big difference, like a dramatic difference between Sam Darnold and Smith. Now, mind you, Darnold was just 3-4 years ago saying he was seeing ghosts. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, one good ass season, and all of a sudden he's like, he's back. You know, I don't know. I don't like that with Seattle.
Hey, as long as that ghost got on a Seahawks jersey, I don't think it even matters.
Yo, he's got $100 million about the ghost and his therapist.
But that is a lot, though. I mean,
that's a lot. Now, well, I don't know if it was guaranteed, but 50. He got
55 million.
50 something million guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's a lot, man, for
55 million.
In 1 year.
Yeah, 37.5 in the first year. So let me touch on this. Sam Darnold. I laughed when Sam Darnold was named the starting quarterback due to injury. I watched Sam Darnold like you guys and everybody in the chat, everybody who was watching this live, everybody who was watching the replay. We saw Sam Darnold for 6 years.
Yeah.
And this past year was the greatest year of his career. Granted, the kid had a hell of a year.
Yes.
That was the Sam Darnold that everyone was looking for when he was drafted, when he came into this league. But unfortunately, due to the environments he was in and himself, things did not work out. But he goes to Minnesota, everything lines up, and he has one of the greatest seasons of his career until the final 2 weeks. And a lot of people go say, and I heard this on Sirius XM NFL radio. A lot of people say, but you can't hold that the last 2 weeks against him. I'll be damned if I can't.
Yeah.
Because those last 2 weeks meant the most. You were playing for the number 1 overall seed in the NFL playoffs in the NFC, and you had a home playoff game that you were favored and you should have won. So no, he showed that in the right circumstances, with the right surrounding cast of players, that team that he can be successful. I don't know if he's going to have that going to Seattle. I don't know.
That same franchise just traded DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Let go of
Tyler Lockett.
And now, but now JSN, I do like JSN. Jackson, whatever his name is, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
But Asher, who's gonna help him?
Well,
he's
they bring in Cooper Kupp. They bring in Cooper Kupp.
Scantling's still there.
And it just signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
He's still there.
Yeah, so the receiving coach, he got weapons now. The thing with Kupp is staying healthy. You know, we came all back off of injury, and he looked like Cooper Kupp. The main reason the Rams let him go was because injury and $30 million. Go ahead.
He actually let go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what got Sam Darnold that money. He was able to go in there. His agent was able to go in there and say, "Hey, Kirk Cousins was able to go to Atlanta and get that," and that's what Minnesota gave up for.
Can't do that though. I can't go with that because Sam Darnold, despite this past season, Sam Darnold is not on the level of Kirk Cousins. To me, despite Kirk Cousins' struggle last year, to me, Kirk Cousins has been one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL.
That's true.
He has. Sam Darnold just had this one season, and congratulations to him. He cashed in. Now, what are you gonna do? If Sam Darnold was a boxer, his record would be 1 win and 6 losses.
The thing is, when you go looking at the quarterbacks that are available today, and that's the same thing I put out there about Kirk Cousins, who would you rather bring in and pay that kind of money? Because he was going to get that money somewhere. Even as a backup, he was going to get that money somewhere.
What, $100 million?
Yeah, he was going to get that money. Whether that $100 million would have been 4 years or 5 years, he was going to get that million.
From who?
That $100 million.
Who other than Seattle gonna pay him $100 million?
You don't think he could have went to New York and got that?
Hell no.
Or went to the Jets and got that?
Hell no. That's why he's in Seattle.
It's the Jets is why he just mess in the first place going to the Jets.
He wasn't going back to the Jets. That was out the question.
Yeah. I don't know. The Jets have made some bonehead decisions in the past.
Man, who was the last? Consistent good quarterback the Jets had. Let me see if we're on the same page.
That's the verdict.
That's the verdict. Yep.
That's the verdict.
Chad Pennington.
Yes, I'm sorry, Chad Pennington. You're right.
Chad Pennington.
All about him.
You know how many years ago we talked about since they had stability.
Yeah, Testaverde was before Pennington. Right. So yeah.
Yeah, and we thought when they was getting Aaron Rodgers that they were finally get stability, but that didn't happen.
You know what?
So this has been a franchise that has been looking for stability, and even even Hollywood Joe Namath might want to suit the Super Bowl for the Jets, but his damn ass wasn't consistently really good. Now, you know what I'm saying?
Not looking for stability in Aaron Rodgers. They were looking the same thing we were looking for out of Kirk Cousins, and that was wins.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about the
Aaron Rodgers is not the answer for anything no more.
You already know.
The Rams get Devontae Adams.
Man, my favorite. Listen, they one of my favorite coach. I'm not a Rams fan, but I wish this man could be my head coach, man. I'm telling you. I just love McVay, man. I love McVay, man. Listen, Matthew Stafford wasn't going nowhere. They let him go out there. Whatever he got, they was gonna match. So Stafford wasn't going nowhere. You bring in Devontae Adams, who, by the way, despite being traded, still got over 1,000 yard receiving. Devontae Adams could still go. Now you got Devontae Adams to put with Puka.
Yeah. No, not with Puka, with Stafford.
Yeah, with Stafford.
You give him a good quarterback. That's all he needed was an accurate quarterback. I'm good. Because after he got dealt with Aaron Rodgers, he played with just bad quarterback after bad quarterback after bad quarterback. So
look at that. Tutu Atwell and Higbee, the tight end, who I think is one of an underrated tight end. Listen, the Rams and with the mind, I call them the mad scientists, man. McVay over there, man. And that young defense that is coming. It's coming. They are coming, and they are young. They are talented, and let's see what they add this offseason to them. But Stafford re-signed. They bring in Devontae. They re-signed Tutu Atwell. They re-signed Alera Jackson to a 3-year, $57 million deal with $35 million guaranteed. Now they gave $29.6 million in a 3-year deal to Poona Ford. Yep. A lot of people are looking at this as I ain't too sure about that. But I'm gonna say this. You'll work what they pay you.
Yeah.
That's what Poona Ford worked. He signed it. He agreed to it. They giving it to him. The Poona Ford's been a solid player his entire career. In his entire career in the NFL. So I think that was a good signing. So what you guys think about the Rams all season so far?
Hey! Isn't it funny? You look at the playoffs we just went through, the playoffs, and like the team that gave the Eagles the biggest challenge was the Rams, right? You look at it, the Eagles modeled about everybody from KC to Washington. They didn't give a damn, but the Rams really gave them some issues, man. And look, I like the fact that their defense is young, talented defense. So that tells you what. Ain't got to really worry about making too many moves for free agents. I mean, for draft wise for this young defense. Let's focus on our offense now. But also, they got their big splash name and Adams, and I like the fact that they're going to try and keep this going. You know, and Stafford didn't go nowhere. I'm still here, and even though Stafford's up there in age, he's still a top 10 quarterback in today's NFL. He just needed, you know, a good O-line. I think they're going to focus on the O-line this year. You know, to keep Stafford upright, because when he's upright, Stafford is godlike with his passing when he's upright and he can see the field. And, so get that taken care of the O-line. This Rams team is going to be a team once again knocking on the door for the playoffs.
And let's go to a team that pretty much was leading the way in the NFC West, but at the end, it just gave it up. It slipped through their hands. The Arizona Cardinals. They signed Jacoby Brissett as their backup. Zay Jones is re-signed. They bring in Kevin Beckman. He re-signs. The big acquisition is Josh Sweat. Coming in, 4-year contract, $76.4 million with $41 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
And they won't do nothing. I'm sorry. Just, you know, hey, I love Josh Sweat. Get your money, brother. Get your money, man. He's got the NFC. He's got a Super Bowl in his belt. He went for the money. I applaud that man, but he is not going to be a difference maker for the Cardinals.
They actually lost too much. They didn't bring in enough to replace what they lost. They lost that defensive tackle, Naquan Jones. They lost Roy Lopez. They lost Tonga. I mean, that's actually too much. And then you only bring in Josh Sweat. And I don't think Tomlinson is going to be enough to replace what they lost. You know, like you said, they were actually up and coming. You would think,
right?
2 years ago, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? They were 11.
But this season they
led like after week 10, I believe they were in the lead, like with a 6-4 record or something like that.
No, they led for a couple weeks.
The whole entire NFC West was up for grabs until the last 2-3 weeks of the season. Everybody's the same.
They actually lost more than that. Those are just the 3 notable losses that the Cardinals lost. But now the teams they saying that the Cardinals need edge rushers, linebackers, cornerbacks, safety, DLs, defensive linemen. That's all defense. So I mean, like I said, the 3 that I named were just the three bigs that they lost, and they didn't bring in enough. They brought in Josh Sweat, but it's not enough, I don't think. But they still need a whole lot on that defensive side of the ball. And they couldn't stop the run to save their life last year.
Right. Hey, family, listen, we want to thank everybody for joining us for this free agent reaction show. Listen, family, we got 75 in the building today. Thank you all for being here, but do us a favor. Don't just watch us today, family. Everybody on X, man, shout out to I'm putting up an X for everybody on X, baby. We're 57 strong on X right now. Hit that link, family. Subscribe to the Come On In Sports Network, our YouTube channel, and also all of our independent channels. We have Undereducated Sports Talk, which is hosted by our very own Mr. Carlos Clayton, who's in the building. We have our newest member to the Come On In Sports Network and host of Atlanta Falcons Pandemic and Come On In Falcons Cowboys in the building. I'm Dolph Jackson, host of the Keeping It Real Who That Sports podcast. We're also a home to Real Fan Sports and Come On In Bills, which is hosted by Jeremy and Lawrence, and Real Fan Sports is hosted by Zach and Nonfiction. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the Come On In Sports Network. You get great content like this. And listen, if you would like to be part of the Come On In Sports Network, I'm talking to all my ladies out there. We are looking to bring in ladies to the team, to the family. NBA, NFL, NCAA, it doesn't matter. If you would like to join a great family, a growing team here at the Come On In Sports Network, send us an email at comeoninsportsnetwork@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to get back with you. But on behalf of the Come On In Sports Network, on behalf of Carlos and Cowboy and myself, I want to thank you all, and Lawrence and Jeremy, thank you all for joining us today. And remember, family, the doors are always open, so you already know. Come on in.
The Come On In Sports.